All righty. Hello, everybody. This is Carl. So we're going to wait just a minute for other people to log in. By the way, if you're looking for a good book, I recommend Anarchy Inc. by Patrick Schwartfeger. It's got some really great information in there and very interesting view of the world ahead of us for the next several years as we go through massive changes in all kinds of technologies. So I love this quote: "Those who approach the future with excitement are playing offense and positioning themselves for opportunity. Those who approach the future with fear are playing defense and worrying that new business models will displace their own." We are literally in an era of massive, massive change, and the era of massive change is going to go on for a long time. So there's probably never been a better time to focus on your business model and what makes sense in your business. So I think that, oddly enough, that makes it a really great time to start a new community like the one we're going to talk about today. So with that, let me just tell you what we're up to here. So we're using Zoom, and when we get to the question and answer period, I'm going to, put in people's names. So if you say, "Hey, what's the blah, blah, blah?" I'm going to say, "Well, Bob is asking," right there. So if you have a name that you don't want other people to know that you're on this for whatever reason, that's totally fine. Just put in an anonymous name or use a handle so that nobody has to know you're here. We are recording this for broadcast. So for those of you who have not heard of me or not seen my stuff before, I'm the author of several books, including some of the better selling books on managed services. And so I just got an email from somebody who wants to know about how to get the audio versions of the 4-volume books on Managed Services Operations Manual. Well, the quick answer is you can buy them. I will give you a discount code. So if you've already bought the 4-volume set in paperback, I'll give you a great price on getting the audio version. Or you can join the community and be patient, because between now and the end of the year, we are hoping to put all of those Managed Services Operations Manual books, the audio version, up into the community as one of the downloads that you get as a member of the Small Biz Thoughts community. So today I want to talk about that community, kind of what it is, and the two core components. The two core components are community, a sense of community itself, and the content. And to be honest, I have a couple of different mastermind groups that have been telling me for probably 5 years now that I should start some kind of online community like this. And I have been resistant until I felt like I had enough content so that just the content by itself would be worth the price of admission. And so I think we are now at that point. So we're going to talk about content, we're going to talk about community, and then at the end, I will answer any questions that you have. So there's a couple of resources that I'm going to put underneath the link to the video replay. And of course, they'll be on my blog at smallbizthoughts.com. But basically, one of these is thoughts on the membership community, and it's from earlier this month. The other one is the actual launch site, which is smbooks.net/sbt-community-launch. And that's where you can actually sign up to join the community. If you just went to www.smallbizthoughts.com, there's a big blue link up there, and you could look at that right away. So let me give you the background on all of this. So I've been thinking about this for a long time and decided this year to get very serious about it, and had an all-community meeting back in February, and some of you may have participated in that. Zoom has a very cool feature that you can open it up to everybody, and I think the limit is 500 people is is what I'm paying for. But 25 at a time could actually be on the screen. You can open up your camera and have your face and 24 other faces up on the screen all at the same time. And so that was very useful, and I got a lot of feedback from the community about what might go into an online community. And then we talked a lot about content, and I have amassed an amazing amount of content over the last 23 years I've been in business. And in particular, during the last 10 or 12 years when I've been doing a lot of teaching and coaching and so forth, I have audio programs and video programs and recorded classes and books and white papers, hundreds of checklists and all kinds of stuff. And so there's quite a bit out there. And I also put up a 6-minute view inside the community if you want to get a sense of that content. Again, that's on my blog or on my YouTube channel. So when I started looking at the community, I started asking, okay, well, do we really need another community? Is there really a void that needs to be filled? And I think there is, because there are some great existing communities. I mean, I swim in the SMB channel quite a bit, and I'm a member of Channel Pro, I'm a member of ASCII, I'm a member of CompTIA, and some of these, for example, ASCII does an amazing job of connecting you with vendors. If you want to get to the next level in a buying power with a specific product manager, they can help you with that. If you have a dispute with a vendor, they can help you with that. If you want to get connected to a certain distributor, they can help you with that. I'm not doing any of that, right? So ASCII is an amazing organization, but they are specifically geared towards helping SMB and managed service people have success with vendors. And so their productions, their in-person events have lots of vendor forums and so forth. And that's great, and it's wonderful, and I love it, and that's why I've been a member for so many years. But there's some stuff that they don't do. And same thing with CompTIA. CompTIA is a great, great community. They do lots of very focused kinds of training. They do a lot of specialized resources. Again, great community. This is going to be a community that's 100% focused on the SMB market. So everybody, if you're from an enterprise organization, great, you're welcome. We're not going to turn you away, but that's not the focus of what we're doing. We're going to focus on the small and medium-sized businesses, and in particular, the IT service providers that support them. Now, if you're not an MSP, that's okay too, but I have to be honest, my bias is towards managed service providers. I think it's the business model of the future. I think there should be a lot of focus on professionalism and profit. I went to, and I won't even name the name of the organization, but I went to an organizational meeting recently, and people were having a discussion about how proud they were that over 50% of their members were now profitable. And I was aghast. 100% of the people in this business should be profitable, and not barely profitable, not scratching by profitable, very, very profitable. And so I have dedicated myself to helping other people figure out how to make money in this business. It's the classic argument from Michael Gerber and the E-Myth Revisited. We go into business because we want to help people. We go into business because we really like technology and we're really good at it. That doesn't necessarily mean that we know how to price things properly or bundle them properly or hire the right people or fire people when they need to be fired. And, there's a lot of things that are involved in being very, very successful in business. And so I want that. I also want a community that's not focused on a product. There's a lot of, you can go to a meeting where everybody sells the same switches. You can go to a meeting where everybody uses the same product, and that's not what we're about. vendors are absolutely welcome to join, but this is not going to be a vendor-focused or a product-focused community. My goal is to make the community very interactive. So, for example, we're going to have trainings where we'll have small groups. And again, I'm going to use a lot of really cool tools. Zoom is one of them. We can have Zoom meetings where, let's say, 30 people show up. We can divide them into 2 different meetings, push a button, and the 2 groups of 15 go off into break rooms, have an assignment, talk to each other, agree on something, and then push a button and they all come back together in the same meeting again. So we can do stuff like that, and it's literally like the license for that is an extra $15 a month or something. It's ridiculous. So we're going to do anything that we can think of to help people interact with each other. I want people who have similar challenges from all across the United States, the UK, Australia. I want them all to be able to say, hey, let's get together. We have this need, whether it's a large company or a small company. There are certain groups that have certain needs, or maybe they focus on a certain product. I want them to be able to find each other here and communicate and use our tools. One of those tools is going to be, obviously, we're going to have a set of forums, and we're going to talk about that more in a minute. But again, we're going to have things like contests. So, for example, we'll have a group of people get together and do, say, 3 trainings on how to find the right tools to tune up your Twitter account or your LinkedIn profile, talk about what makes a good profile and a bad profile and what the dimensions need to be and all that, and then send people off to go tune up their profile, put a link in the forum, and then we'll vote on them. And the people who participated in that will get to choose who has the best improved LinkedIn profile. And then the next month, we'll do something else on some other aspect of the business, tuning up your onboarding checklist or something like that. But that way, people get to throw ideas around and interact with other people who are working on the same pieces of their business at the same time and get to know each other, right? That's what online communities are all about. We are going to forbid the discussion of politics on the forums only because you can do that on Facebook. Right? If you want to get angry and whatever, go do that, somewhere else. What we're going to focus on here is going to be making your business more successful. So, when I think about what I don't want in a community, I've had people tell me, like, why don't you put on one of these 3-day events, get 3 rooms, have a main room and a couple of breakout rooms, and get 600 people in the room. And oh my God, I literally never want to do that. Especially since a lot of those things tend to just, the money is so big that they have to rely on vendor dollars. As soon as you take vendor dollars, what happens? Vendors want to speak. Now you don't control the agenda anymore. And you also have people who are constrained from mentioning certain things because even though they're up on stage and they're supposed to be educating, they have relationships with a bunch of these vendors who are helping to pay to have everybody in the room. And again, I love vendors. I work with vendors. I support them, but there needs to be a place where we are not, we're not constrained in how we talk about them. And, there's also a lot of groups where, if you pay enough money, you get to sit up front. And if you pay enough money, then you get to be at this level and the other level. And again, there's a place for those groups. But what happens very frequently is that people feel like they're constantly being sold more and more and more. And I don't want that. One of the discussions in February is, should we have tiered pricing? And I went back and forth with the people online and a lot of my close advisors and people in my mastermind groups, and finally decided, no, there's going to be one price. You're either in or you're out. And I'm going to throw as much as I can inside the community. So when I ask people, what do you need? Like right now, if I polled the people who are on this webinar, the number one answer time and again for a dozen years has been, I need more sales, I need more clients, I need more leads, right? So that is always the number one. But sometimes the answer is, oh, I'm trying to hire my first tech, or I've gotten so big, I don't know how to hire the next tech. I've just been talking to somebody as a potential coaching client who has grown too fast, and now they're not sure what to do. They're kind of stuck. You know, you imagine climbing a ladder and your foot is stuck. You can't quite reach the next rung. A lot of people are there. Some people can't break through the $1 million mark or the $5 million mark. I worked with a client one time that he got to 5 million really, really fast, but just for the life of him couldn't get beyond that. And we basically figured out how to get him moving again. And now he's working with another coach trying to figure out how to get over 10 million. So, you know, everybody gets stuck at a different place. And sometimes the hardest things to overcome is, how do I hire my first technician? But don't lose sight of the fact that there's still more challenges no matter how big your company grows. And I think that people need great training processes. You know, there's a lot of people that when you ask them, you know, what do you need in your business? They beat their head like, I need consistency. I need to be able to know that every day I go to work, it's actually going to be profitable. A lot of people are trying to figure out marketing, and, you know, marketing, in some sense, there's classic marketing that has worked for 100 years. In another sense, there's a new thing every week. And even if you've invested in Google ads or Facebook ads, they change the rules. They change what happens when people click. They change the way that it's presented. They change their interface. So even if you figure out marketing for 20 minutes, it's completely different 20 minutes after that. So, you know, what worked before may not work again. And then, you know, there's other pieces involved in that. I have had a steady budget on Google Ads for a long time, but every time I ignore it for a month, the number of sales goes down, even though the number of clicks might have gone up. And I have to keep tweaking it and fine tuning it, right? So, you know, how do you stay up on that? So we're going to have some people who can help figure that stuff out. And some people are still trying to figure out, look, I'm sold. I need managed services. Don't know how to get there. I'm not sure how to put this thing together so that it actually works. And of course, that leads to, you know, recurring revenue and all the other stuff. Plus, you know, there's people who are working really hard trying to figure out how to make sense of the cloud services. And I'm obviously a big fan of that. And, you know, I do road shows and so forth, trying to help people crack that nut. But if you've read my book, Relax, Focus, Succeed, the big picture is that I lay out in that book my vision for my life, my purpose, right? Why I'm still here. And it is both my personal mission and my business mission is to inspire success and, you know, help other people to succeed, as well as obviously to help myself succeed. So in the big picture, if I were to say what constitutes a successful community, I would say it's a community where every single person makes more money, has more success, and loves their business more every year. I would love it if every single person who joined this community became fabulously wealthy by whatever standards they measure that. And I think it's possible. You know, there's so many opportunities today. It's unbelievable. I just had lunch with somebody who is 45-ish, talking about how she thinks her computer science degree is irrelevant today. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, you have aptitude, right? You know, that if you know anything about technology, your opportunities in the years ahead are just phenomenal, out of this world. So let's talk about community. So one of the things we're going to have is several forums. And in fact, I have put together most of the forums and am about to actually have the forum leaders get their credentials, I'm hoping this week, so that they can start seeding some conversations. But these are going to be online threaded forums, not an email group. So we can even have the ability to, freeze a forum and say, okay, that was the core stuff from 2018 on getting started. Now let's start another forum and talk about getting started, for next year, something like that. There will be forums on security, compliance, marketing, how to run your business, best practices, all kinds of great stuff. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But I expect that to be a very, very popular piece of it. Again, we're going to have some group trainings and group projects. And the idea there will be to have people literally get together in small groups and go through a very specialized training together, and then, have another one. And it might be that, for example, that training I talked about with LinkedIn profiles or Twitter profiles, that might get offered several times. It could even become like the training piece of it is led the second time by somebody who won the prize the first time, and people can get involved in helping to improve these things over time. And maybe somebody will say, hey, why don't we just start a forum on one of these topics? And that's fine too. We're not going to let everybody start forums on everything, but, where there's a true need for it, we will let the community drive that. And then we're going to have some online meetings. And again, I have the ability to access many, many tools. I thought about live streaming this on Facebook, but I'm not sure there's a particular use or need for that. But it is the kind of thing I'm willing to discuss. But we will definitely have member-only meetings where we will talk about just in general what's going on in the community and so forth. I don't want this to be something where I stand up here and lecture and everybody else takes notes. There's plenty of opportunity for you to do that. But I want everybody to be as interactive as possible. We're also going to have something called the break room, and I will introduce that after all of this goes live. It's mostly kind of a fun thing we're going to bolt onto the community, but I do think in addition to working hard, sometimes you need to play, and so we're gonna have some fun stuff here as well. In terms of the content, as you know, I've written now. This fall, I will release my 18th book, and if I'm lucky, I will release my 19th book. Those will be available inside the community at no additional charge. And then we're going to have, there'll be some stuff, obviously, like I'm not going to include the printed books in all of this, so it'll be the PDF version or the Kindle version or whatever. But, if somebody who's in the community wants to buy the print version, we'll have a discount for that, a significant discount. And I also have audio programs. We have uploaded now, I think there are about 6 or 8 gigabytes worth of audio programs that Kara has already put live into the community. And we have, I think, 5 more audio programs scheduled to be put up every month through January, and it might be February. So we're going to be adding more and more content all the time. Some of those audio programs are basically the audio book version of our most popular books. I also have some archived classes that I've taught over the years. I have white papers and checklists and all processes and procedures, all of that. So I'm literally hoping I live long enough to get all this stuff uploaded. So I have so much material, but the goal is that I'm going to just keep pumping more and more of it in there, but making it findable. One of the things is sometimes you subscribe to a site that has so much content you can't find anything. So I'm going to have roadmaps. I'm going to put together roadmaps that say, what's your goal? And I'm going to take a poll of the community. What are your goals? Go back to that page. If the goal is setting up your first SOPs, well, let's take a cohort of people and say, first read this and then do that and then run this checklist. And then, we'll literally put together a binder together and we'll walk people through that. And other people say, I don't need any of that. I need a good onboarding process because I'm hiring people so fast. Great. One of the things we've uploaded is an entire folder of materials that you would use in onboarding an employee, right? So there's all kinds of stuff, and we're going to try to find ways for you to go through all of this. One of the things I'm really going to put a lot of effort into developing is our search engine. I've been shocked at how easy this has been so far. So I'm waiting for us to hit a hitch at some point. But I want ideally a search engine where you can put in a term and it will give you everything I've ever produced on that. So whether it's backups or new client procedures or running the service board, I want to be able to find a way to show you every white paper, every audio program, every book chapter that's ever been produced, and then have links to all of those things so you can just access them immediately. So it's one thing to have a massive amount of content. It's another thing to actually be able to find it and use it. And we are going to have questions. So if anybody wants to put some questions that come up into the Q&A panel, I'll be happy to look at those when we get there. So what's not included? So basically, live events, in-person events are not included. If we decide to have a live community meeting someplace, that would be included. But when I teach live classes or have a roadshow, that kind of event, right now I don't expect those to be included simply because they're generally fairly expensive to put on. If we do events with other organizations, those would not be included. But the things over which I have control, again, members will get a very, very significant discount on, like the live classes. The live classes are one of those things I considered as a level, but the classes, right now we run just over one a month. I think they're 15 this year, and they're $259. So to include that, I would have to up the price probably by an extra $200 a month. And so there's no point in that. I'm just going to leave the classes on the side. And when we archive them, we'll put them in the community. But when they're live, they will be just something that you'll buy at a discount. In terms of the community leaders, we have all of these topics and more. And I've been working hard with the community leaders in the last week to get up profile information and all that kind of stuff, and begin putting together the forums that they are going to manage. And these are the community leaders we have so far. So most of these names you're probably familiar with. These are some of the best minds I know in the community, and it's no bullshit. I am honored to have these people on this list. Most of these are people that I've known for a minimum of 5 years, and some of them 10 and 15, and at least one of them I've known for more than 50 years that he's been alive. That's my brother, Manuel. I have many people on here who I've known for 10, 15, 20 years, and they are successful. Amy Babinchak is a perfect example. She is not just somebody who is well known because she is a Microsoft MVP, but she is extremely entrepreneurial, right? She runs 3 IT-related businesses, right? Rayanne Buccianico runs a couple. Of course, you've heard of Harry Brailsford, right? So, there's all kinds of people. I think Lori might be on today. Lori Hartke, one of my favorite people. And she's just got such a cool business model, trying to focus on, okay, how much can I grow? How successful can I be without having to start hiring people? That's always not only a barrier, but for some people, it's a headache that they just don't want to have, right? And for people who have tried to grow and have been 1, 2, 3 employees for 10 years, sometimes, and I can tell you from experience, sometimes you go to sleep at night wondering, why did I ever try to hire people? Why didn't I just stay one person and become massively profitable? Because, that first employee, you hire somebody today at 50, 60,000 plus taxes and benefits and whatever, that's a chunk of change, and it's got to come out of the services you sell. So, it's hard. Like I said earlier, it's hard to crack that nut. Anyway, I mean, I can go through the whole list, but I'm going to introduce these folks in separate events that we do. But I want you to connect with all of them, and our community will be one place where you'll have access to all of these people. And I can tell you, I've talked to every one of these community leaders, and they are very excited about doing this. They are looking forward to jumping in and actually saying, okay, how much can we do? What kind of new cool things can we do? And some of them have already brought me new, I almost said toys, but new tools to improve the communications and the collaboration between people. So it'll be great stuff. And I'm sure that we will add more community leaders. I just wanted to make sure that we had a big enough core of people that when we launch, we will have success immediately. So what does all this cost? So the standard price, which starts in September, is $99 a month. And the discount would be, if you buy for a whole year, it's $999. So you basically get a couple of months for free. And so that saves you 16%. During August, which is our launch month, we're going to have a special bonus, which is that you will get an additional 3 months for free. So that means it's a 15-month subscription, and that brings your savings to more like 33%. And then during July, we're going to knock another $100 off of that. So if you register in July, it's $899. You get the whole 15 months. And in June, so now this is the 19th. So you got another week and a half. We're going to knock another $100 off of that. So it's $799 for the year, plus you get an extra 3 months. So in total, you get 15 months for $799, which is about a 46% savings. So that really is a spectacular deal. We've had people sign up for this already, and I greatly appreciate it. All of the people who register between now and August 31st will get a little badge that says that they are a founding member. And we're gonna have, I haven't figured out which product to use for this, but we're gonna have one of these things where you can get certain badges based on accomplishing certain trainings, participating in forums, so forth and so on. So one of the first badges is the founding member badge, which is only going to be available to people who sign up through the end of August. So I would love to have everybody join me, join the group, dig in. I would love to have people wander around at conferences and say, hey, I'm a member of the Small Biz Thoughts community. I am currently in the process of printing up little badges for people to wear at CompTIA. So if you're going to CompTIA, if you're a paid member, you get a badge. If not, I'll have something else for you. But I do want to make a presence in the community, and I really sincerely want people to figure out how they can be more and more successful in their businesses. And we have lots of people who are here who are eager to help you. So you can get started by going to smallbizthoughts.com. There's a big blue button at the top that just says, find out about the launch of the Small Biz Thoughts community. So with that, I will take any questions that anybody has. You can just put them in the Q&A box, which is somewhere on the control panel. Nothing? All right. So Lori, did you want to say a word or two since I see that you're here? You don't have to. Now that I've called you out, you don't have to. She raised her hand, so let's see if that means yes. All right, I clicked the allow to talk button, so let's see if we can hear you.
Hey, Carl, can you hear me?
I can indeed. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
So do you want to talk about what your forum is going to cover?
Sure, I can. I guess basically, like you said, I've it seems like everybody wants to grow their business and get big and huge. And, I've had to manage people before. I was an IT manager and I felt like I was more of a babysitter than anything. And I've also been in several different accountability groups where some of my other colleagues were in the $1 million mark or more and had 5 to 10 techs, and every single week their biggest struggle would be with the employees. And I'm like, oh my God, I just don't really want to have that. But yet I want to grow my business. So I continue to try to find ways, like the low-hanging fruit. Like, are there different products and things that I can sell that really don't require having to hire any additional people? And I do have people that will help me, like on 1099 type contract basis now and then. Right. But so that's kind of working for me. And then I also really try I'm 100% remote, and I'll save that story for later. And people, I guess, find that like, how could I possibly do that? And so I'll share with the community ways to do that and think differently, I guess, is the biggie. And,
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very eager to get your story out there simply because I'm just so impressed with it. But I will tell folks, Lori runs a business in 2 states at the same time. So, and it's funny, I had a call from somebody who said, look, I'm in Canada, but I want to open an office in Texas for personal reasons and trying to figure out, does it make any sense for me to try to build a business in 2 places at the same time? And I said, it just turns out we have exactly the person you need to talk to. Because he's not somebody with, 40 employees running across, international boundaries. He's somebody with 1 person trying to figure out how to make this thing go. And it absolutely can be done. And that's the other thing that's so cool about the technology we have today is, you can be 100% remote. I mean, clients don't want you underfoot anyway. So, clients no longer think, oh, you must be here clicking the keys yourself in order for me to get my money's worth.
Yeah, and I've had to overcome some obstacles with that, and I have some really great responses to how to overcome those obstacles. And again, I'll be sharing all of that with the community. So.
Right. It's funny. Many years ago, we took on a big client, and big-ish, 50 some people, and they were absolutely insistent that we have somebody show up at their office. And at first, they wanted them every day, and we talked about that. But eventually, got down to 1 day a week, and we got one of these parkas from Microsoft from some event and put it in their computer room because it was so cold. And had my guy Dan go in there 1 day a week, and he would sit in their computer room with the parka on and remote into their machines and fix things to wean them off the idea that we had to be at their office to be able to give them support. So he was there, he just wasn't standing over their shoulder. So anyway. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for volunteering for this role. I sincerely appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
All righty. I'm going to mute you now.
All righty.
Any other questions from anybody? And if not, that's okay too. This has been recorded, so I'm going to go ahead and post this up But I would encourage you to go ahead to smallbizthoughts.com, click on the big blue button, and check out joining the community. And we will be probably, at this point, it looks like we will be letting some people in July to go ahead and start having discussions and testing things to make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. I have been shocked at how smooth this has been. As I said, my guy Ruben, he took today off because it's his birthday, but other than that, he's been working really hard, and I've been very, very impressed with what he's come up with. So check that out. And also, when I post this, I'll put it on my blog and on YouTube, and there will be a link to the 6-minute video I put out a few days ago on the tour inside the SMB, Small Biz Thoughts community. All righty, thank you all. I'm going to go ahead and put this to an end if there are no questions. And I thank you for your interest today, and I look forward to joining you in the Small Biz Thoughts community.